Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Evolve Love. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. I can't believe that we are already at the end of another week. These episodes and the recording and the whole process of this is just going by so quickly for me. But what I'm also loving, and I'm hoping that you are too, is that doing these daily doses of thought or beautiful ideas or practices, it's really given me a beautiful takeoff to begin my day. And I hope that it is doing the same for you. And even in recording them, I feel like I'm also getting this daily dose of need, of inspiration, of creativity, of joy. And all of this is just so possible because we are getting to share here in this space. And so I'm so grateful to you for being here. And today's episode, this whole week, it was so interesting because as I mentioned before, I do record my content a week in advance, but today I'm actually recording at the beginning of this particular week. And so when I was listening back and working on the edits for the Clearing Density episode that launched on Monday, it was so funny because on Sunday this week, I had decided for myself that being Taurus season, which is my sun season, I wanted to do a 30-day reset, a 30-day challenge. And I know like both of those might seem like a little aggressive sounding, but basically what I wanted to do was to give back to my body that does so much for me every day, and to give back to my home that comforts me and holds me. And I know a lot of the time especially like this particular space, we may like talk about the body as a temple. People may refer to it as a vessel. But with this whole challenge that I was doing, it was like, I just want to really take dedicated, devoted time for myself each day for 30 days in Taurus season. And just to remind myself that though I may give love to others, I can give love back to myself too. And I can give love back to my space. And so today, when we're talking about Venus themes of beauty and love, this whole thought came up about sharing about this 30-day challenge that I'm doing for myself. Also in regards to how we are consuming our nutrients, the food that we're eating. And I want to start this off by saying that I am very, what I would consider food positive, because I don't want to give a particular label to any type of food. I just look at it as like, this is something that I can eat. Here it is. But what I'm talking about in today's episode is really taking note about how food and which foods that you're eating, how it all makes you feel. Because I was thinking of this when I was preparing for the episode, but the phrase eating radiantly helps you to be radiant. And it was interesting because like that word doesn't always come up for me a lot, but this idea of eating radiantly to me just sounded so beautiful. And another thought too, like this is kind of almost like one of those like word association psychology types of tests, but when you think of radiant food, is there something that comes to mind to you first? So thinking about it right now, and I'm so curious, please share with me if you wouldn't mind. But when you think about radiant food, what comes to you first? Because for me, it's really strange. What comes to my mind is pomegranate. And that is not like a food at all that like I eat very often. I feel like pomegranate has, and I could be totally wrong on this, but I'm just talking about like what I see in the stores. I feel like it has a very short season. And so maybe that's what makes it feel so precious, is because we don't seasonally have pomegranates for very long. So we enjoy in them. We enjoy in like the delicacy that it is. And it's also, along with that, it's rich, it's packed full of nutrients, it's bold in color. It's like, it can be juicy. So like all of these things to me like also feel radiant. Like it feels very beautiful to have this pomegranate. And it made me start thinking about how I'm looking at like the foods that I am consuming and how it's making me feel, because when I'm giving myself bold, colorful, nutrient-full types of foods, it does feel very life-giving. To me, I notice a difference that when I'm eating this way, my body feels energized in a way different way than when I'm eating in a way that feels like dense. The idea of nourishing, flowing, what am I bringing into my body to give back to myself? And this is what we're talking about today, is how can we make our meals, how can we make the food that we're eating a beautiful experience? Is it in the color? Is it in the quality or texture? Is it giving your food a very specific like punch of flavor? Does it feel very rich? What is it to you when you're eating that makes you feel like we can create this as an experience too? So the meals that we're making, the food that we're preparing for ourselves, even the tea that we're preparing for ourselves, we can make it feel very beautiful and very radiant by dedicating the time to it, but also seeing what we're pulling into our spaces, onto our plates, and making it feel like it could feel like art, even if you want it to. So when we take the time to put love into the food, don't you feel different too? Like even if you think about like the food that you've eaten that someone's prepared for you, like there's always that idea that like food that others prepare for you tastes better or something like that, because it's this action of I'm making this meal for you. And doing that also for ourselves. Because when we have this beautiful experience, I feel that it also connects to this idea of regeneration and energizing of our cells. Like that's what I want. Like I feel that way in spring too. Spring is a regeneration. Spring is a rebirth. Spring is a bloom. So how can we bring this idea into what we're consuming? And I know we're talking more about food, but this could also apply to other things as well. And this experience can be so beautiful, caring for your temple, caring for your physical vessel. And I know that in other episodes this week, we talked more about how can we clear this space within our home? How can we create more flow? How can we create a beautiful energy within our spaces? And this is a whole part of my 30-day challenge too. But like with the food we eat, I think that that can also be an experience that we allow ourselves to have. And like I said, I'm not saying like this food is good or this food is bad or anything like that, but like you can set those feelings to the foods that you're eating, because you might love to eat something that somebody else does not like to eat and vice versa. So just knowing that we can put this beautiful energy into taking the time for our meals. Also, like maybe eating with presence, maybe not having our phones with us, like really tasting the food. Because like if you think about it too, like if you're just like eating the food, but like looking at your phone or you're like watching TV, and for some people like this is really helpful and like actually like a part of how like they can digest their food. But like for maybe a day, like even just trying it, like what is it like to like not have a distraction while I'm eating? And like, does it feel different? Does it sit different? Do I like feel a different energy within my body when I'm doing this? And so this was just the idea for today. I know it seems kind of maybe a little random and out there, but again, what food do you think of when you hear the word radiant? For me, the pomegranate came up, but I'm just so curious to know. And like, how can we incorporate these types of foods into our day to bring, and you know, sometimes when we're craving those foods or thinking about those foods, that's the exact nutrient that our body is needing. Like that is what we're craving, wanting, and needing to help us get through our day. So I am so going to try this today. And within my 30-day challenge, I am taking care of different areas of my home. I sort of have like a mapped out schedule of that so that it's not an overwhelming task, but I know like on this day, I'm looking at this area and whatnot. And then for myself, for my physical temple, my body, I am trying to do things that are more nourishing for myself and just reminding myself, to have more water, to remineralize and things like that, just to like really, to give back to my system that does so much for me and also does so much for others, because I am taking care of others as well. And so it's so important for me to like also remember that it starts with me, and I could do that through beautiful, nourishing experiences. So I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I'm so looking forward to talking to you again next week. And just a reminder, if you haven't already hit the follow button, please do so on the podcast platform of your choice. And if you feel called to rate a review, that helps this podcast to be seen by others who might be looking for this exact content. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And like I said, a beautiful weekend. I'll check back in with you on Monday.